Hello, Bashar. Question about dreams. So a little while ago, I heard you explain to someone how dreams about being in airplanes and other kinds of vehicles can be screen memories for actual contact experiences. So 2 days after I heard you say that, my husband, who had not heard any of it, comes to me and says, I had the weirdest dream. And this is already weird because he doesn't usually remember his dreams. So he said in his dream, they were on a plane and it was going straight up. And then they were in a big hangar and that there was a large general there who was looking for me. And then they found me and we all got into an Explorer and we were driving around. The synchronicity of that was really fantastic. And my question is, who was this general? And why were they asking him where I was? I mean, I'm guessing that they would know how to find me if they needed me, right? Thank you.
This is a representation of a classic so-called abduction experience, going from a smaller craft into a larger craft, a mothership, so to speak. The general is a projected telepathic representation of someone in authority in a way that your husband could understand, could relate to. And they were trying to see how much ability he had to sense his connection between him and you. They knew where you were. They wanted to see if he knew where you were. It was a test of growing telepathic communication through the connection of relationship and love.
Good day, Bashar. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm very excited.
All right. Thank you.
I have a number of questions.
Yeah.
My wife passed away last month.
All right.
I've been trying to come to terms with this reality.
All right.
Is it possible or am I allowed to know if did she complete her life team before leaving?
Yes.
Okay.
And now it continues in the afterlife by allowing you to reach out to make more connections with her in spirit. That's part of the theme as well.
I see. Because I still feel a sense of guilt in me.
Why?
I'm not sure if I've done anything. I've not done enough, or have I done anything wrong?
No, you've done fine. No, you've done fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. This is all prearranged. It's all pre-planned. It's by agreement. The timing is correct for this. Don't spend time there. Otherwise, you are preventing yourself from experiencing the connections that she can be making to you.
I see.
So let go of all that. Breathe a sigh of relief. Let go. And just open up in love, in your heart, to receive whatever it is that she will send to you. And eventually you'll begin to feel it more and more strongly, and you will realize that guilt has nothing to do with this agreement and this experience.
I see.
All right?
Because every time I think of her, I start to cry. Because
you're in grief. I know. You're letting go, and you're rearranging your understanding of your relationship, and that's fine. But remember that if you consider this to be a loss and keep defining it as a loss, then anytime she may attempt to communicate with you or contact you, you will only experience that connection as grief. So the more you let go of that idea over whatever time it takes, the more you'll be able to realize that she is actually communicating with you a lot more often than you might think.
Okay. A few days ago, I was talking to my son.
Yes.
Encouraging him to connect with my wife, with his mom. And
Yes.
Suddenly he actually saw the spirit of my wife floating on air. I'm just curious, why did my son is able to do this?
How old is he?
10 years old.
That's why. Because he hasn't learned not to do that. He is more open to the idea of spirit, more open to the idea of what is possible, whereas most adults on your planet have been taught to think that those things are not possible. But he hasn't done that. So he is more capable of perceiving beings in spirit because he hasn't blocked his ability to do that with all of the different things on your planet and your society that you tell them are simply not possible to do.
Okay.
Children
So
are
is there
very
any,
open this way.
Is there any ways that I encourage him to have such connection?
He
He
has
does.
the connection. The most important thing is for him to teach you how to have the connection, not to encourage him, but for him to encourage you by knowing that he has just shown you it's possible.
Okay, understand. Okay. Another thing is, now as a single parent, what can I do to best educate my children such that they'll grow up in a balance, as a balanced adult?
Well, as we have said before, you teach them the formula. You teach them that they are as powerful as they need to be to attract whatever they need in life without having to hurt themselves or anyone else in order to attract it. Tell them to trust in the way their life unfolds and in synchronicity to bring them what they need in perfect timing, not to rush or be desperate, but to live in the moment. You can help them learn in certain circumstances how to make positive choices, how to understand the consequences of their choices, and get them to understand how to move forward in balance in that way. So you can teach them all these things, but they can also teach you some of these things as well if you pay attention.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you so much, Bashar.
You are very
So
welcome.
grateful.
Our unconditional love to you and hers to you as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, Bashar. I was also wondering about the animal that Willa suggested that we connect to connect to her, which is the fox. And that is a little bit, well, that is a predator in our time. Now, in her time, is it also a predator? I know you said as we evolve that we wouldn't have as much predation probably. So I was just wondering how much predation is in her time. Thank you very much.
Almost none. There is more of a symbiosis that is taking place in nature, and there is a certain period of time in her history where that actually happened in a certain time period more rapidly. Certain shifts were observed, and suddenly many animals that were predatory either shifted their behavior in certain ways, grew in certain ways, or shifted or changed in certain ways physiologically to allow them to become more symbiotic, or simply died out and are no longer existing. So the fox in her time is not the fox of your time. It is a very different kind of an animal, even though it has some similar looks to it.
Hi, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
So excited to be here with you. Recently, I've been playing with the idea of channeling. Usually, I just do it with my children. It's very comfortable to do it with them. And
All right. So when you say you're exploring that idea, do you mean doing it for people beyond your children? Is that what you're saying?
I've done it where I've recorded myself, but I often have challenges in the recording.
Challenges of what nature?
Like the sound, my voice doesn't get picked up by the microphone.
That can happen. Your energy is fluctuating. Your electromagnetic auric field can affect electronic equipment sometimes when you are expanding it in certain ways and when it contains frequencies that are different than the normal frequencies of your planet. It can interfere with electronic equipment. This has happened with us many times in some public events where the cameras simply refuse to work.
Thank you.
Yes.
So the beings that I'm connecting to.
Not going to go deeply into that.
Okay.
First and foremost, you will connect to your own higher mind, maybe some of your spirit guides. Get to know them, get to know yourself, get familiar with the process. But as we have often suggested, one of the best ways to do this is to actually channel for other people who are asking questions, who really want to know the answers, because then you can get out of the way and let them pull the information through you, like grounding it like a circuit, instead of sitting there wondering if what you're getting is accurate or even worthwhile. let someone pull the information through you if you really want to practice vocal channeling.
Yeah, one of the things that that have been holding me from doing that sometimes is I feel, how can I stay grounded so that the information that comes through is clear? Sometimes I
Don't worry about it. That's how.
I
Whatever happens is what needs to happen. Remember, you're practicing. You have to go with the idea that, hey, I may not get anything. Hey, I may get something that's misinterpreted. Hey, I'm just learning this. So let's go with the flow. This is just for the point of practicing. You'll figure it out. You'll get a better sense of when it comes through in the way that it needs to. But at first, you have to let go of all of that. You have to let go of needing to be correct, needing to be accurate, needing to get anything at all. You have to let go of the idea that you might look silly or strange or sound silly or strange. You might have to let go of the idea of what other people might think. Remember, channeling is not just for bringing through information for others. It's a process that also is there for the channel to learn who they are rather than learning who the entity is, to become more of yourself, letting go of those things that don't work for you, refining the process as you go along. It's for the channel as well as those receiving the information. So as long as you make an announcement at first to the people asking questions that you're just new at this, you're practicing this, you don't know what's going to happen, but you're going to trust whatever comes through is what needs to come through, and you're going to trust that even something not coming through is what needs to happen at that particular moment until you can get more familiar with what's going on and be more comfortable with it, then things will change and shift. And you might even find yourself doing channeling in a different form altogether, but that's up to you. Does this help?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'd like to ask one more thing. The world sometimes feels very intense, and I understand the idea of looking at things through a glass window or glass wall.
Yes.
But sometimes I still find that, particularly with what's happening in Ukraine,
Yes, yes.
I get a sense of helplessness.
Then do what you can. Act according to how you are able to in some positive fashion. There are many ways to support what is going on. We can't talk about this too deeply because we are not allowed to get involved in your politics. Nevertheless, look around. There are options available to you to do whatever you can to be of assistance in the situation. So let go of your fears and take whatever actions are positive in whatever direction synchronicity brings to you that you are actually able to take some action on. There are many organizations who are being of assistance. You can participate in whatever way works for you.
Yeah.
All right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Good day.
Hi, Bashar.
To you, good day.
How are you doing?
Perfect. And you?
I'm doing perfect also.
All right. You are always perfect for whatever you are. At any given moment, you're a perfect version of that, even though you may change.
Exactly. The evil eye symbol is more or less the same symbol as like Sirius. Like how do they relate to one another?
They don't.
They don't.
No, the idea is simply the concept of being watched, because as you observe, others observe you. That's the way they do relate. But they don't relate in the sense of the definitions that your society has given to that symbol in that way. It's only a representation of the fact that you can see the symbol either as positive or negative, depending upon what belief systems you hold to be true within yourself. That's how it relates. But that meaning isn't inherently built into that symbol. It's there as an observation thing to observe how you respond and react to it. Yes?
Yes. So
Alright.
they're not related in the way that someone that was very connected to Sirius created the symbol of the evil eye.
Correct.
All right.
It's just a symbol of connection and observation. But whether it appears to be benign or evil has to do more with the belief systems that that person may have been taught. Does that help?
Doesn't make much sense. Could you?
All right. You are given the symbol, let's just say, that seems to be like an eye to you. And if we're telling you that that eye is observing you, watching you, seeing what's going on, but also the vibration of that eye may be causing certain beliefs within each person to rise to the surface of their consciousness and be expressed, well, those that might hold on to some fear-based beliefs or negative beliefs in their unconscious mind may interpret the symbol negatively and say it's an evil eye that could control me or do damage to me, while others who may be more inclined to look at things more positively will simply see it as a connection to those who are looking over you, watching over you, observing you for more neutral or positive reasons. So the vibration of that symbol as an eye, interpreted as an eye, can be taken either positively or negatively based on what belief systems are within the person doing the observing. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Will that do?
Thank you for this, and it was very nice to speak with you again.
And you as well. Good day.
Good day.
Hi,
Good day.
good day. I have a question.
Yes.
It was 2 nights ago, I think. It was an odd experience because I heard an alarm and I just woke up in the middle of the night and I heard an alarm.
Yes. Was it between 3 and 4 a.m. or a different time?
Probably. I just maybe thought it was a different time.
Okay. Well, it might have been.
Yeah.
What are you asking?
I'm asking, is it like an ET or something? Or
Well,
was it just me waking up?
it might have been something from your guides to alert you, not necessarily negatively alarm you, but to alert you to something that was going on in your consciousness or in the encounter you might have been having when you were out of your body. So it might have been something for the purpose of bringing your attention to something. We can't necessarily say what at this particular point, but it seems to be something that would be getting your attention, to bring your attention to something important at that time, to pay attention to something. All right? It may happen again, and thus you may build more familiarity with what it is actually attempting to get your attention to pay attention to.
Yes.
So next time it happens, look around the room, see if you can sense or see something going on, or look outside your window, see if you can see or sense something going on that might be unusual. But it's attempting to get you to pay attention to something at a certain timing. All right?
Yes.
All right. Does that help?
Yes.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah.
All right. What?
And I just forgot.
All right. Well,
Okay.
pleasant dreams to you.
You too.
Always. Thank you. Yes, you remember?
Yes. Is there anything that could help me have more connection with ETs?
Follow the formula that we share with everyone. Synchronicity will bring you exactly what you need in perfect timing. Just have the intention to be open to those connections. Synchronicity will bring them to you. And this may be connected to that, what we've already discussed to some degree.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
That is all.
All right. Good day.
Good day.
Hi, Bashar. Chris from California again. I'm wanting to understand more clearly this idea that the structure of existence never changes, only our perspective and experience of that structure changes. Can you walk us through that idea in a new or more detailed way so that we can get a fuller understanding of it? Thank you.
Yes, although this may require a visual representation if you have access to it. I'm going to describe an object. It is known by a few different names. One of the names is a blivet, B-L-I-V-E-T. This is an optical illusion object. It is defined generally as an elongated form that has what appear to be 3 round prongs on one end and simply 2 squarish ones on the other end. It is what you would call an impossible object to exist in 3 dimensions. It's a higher dimensional form. But you can have a drawing of it, and you can see the optical illusion in it because one end appears to be blockish and squarish and only has 2 extended prongs, but at the other end, the space in between the other 2 is drawn in such a manner that it seems to suddenly transform into one of the 3 round prongs at the other end. If you are familiar with this object, you can look it up if you're not, blivet. But the idea is that this form never changes. That's the structure of it. But if you cover the bottom half, you would think that it represents a blockish 2-pronged object. And if you cover the upper half, you would believe that it represents a 3-dimensional, 3-pronged object with round prongs. So therefore, even though the structure underneath what you have covered up hasn't changed, your perspective of the object has changed by blocking your view of the bottom or the top half, showing you that you can have an object that doesn't change within itself, but you can perceive it in different ways to represent what appear to be different objects. And that's the basic principle underlying the nature of existence. The structure of existence, represented by the laws, doesn't change. But your perspective of it changes. Your relationship to it changes. Your experience of it changes depending on your point of view of an object or a structure that never changes.
Good morning, Bashar. It's wonderful to be here with you this morning.
And you as well.
Have you seen Jill Gurr about the universe?
We know that she is in spirit, have connected briefly from time to time.
Thank you. I didn't really have a question to ask you. This is morning time for me. But what I did want to share is that I've had some really beautiful synchronicities around your energy. Many synchronicities, actually. The most recent was a being. I'm not sure if I think it's feminine. I think she is from your civilization.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure, but I'm very interested in the disclosure that's been going on, and I'm very interested in contact.
Yes.
And so I'm not surprised that I might pull that kind of energy towards me, but...
Yes. All right. Well, we can confirm that a female in our society is connecting with you.
Oh, thank you.
She has something to do with nature, with flowers, with the essence of the vibration felt when you are in deep communion with nature. And she is working with you because in terms of relative time, you are about to go towards something bigger than what you've been doing.
Yes. I am definitely in a time of transition. I feel like I am letting a chapter go, or
Yes.
I'm just in mid-chapter. I'm
Yes.
tidying it up, letting it go. I would be happy to have already completed it, but it's okay because I do realize there's a process to it. But I'm
Yes.
almost finished, and I'm
Yes.
clearing my plate.
And this is why we can sense that you're about to embark on something bigger. It will be coming in possibly within the next 3 to 6 months at the outside. Maybe sooner, but we'll see what your process brings you.
Yeah.
But within 3 to 6 months, look for something being presented to you synchronistically that would allow you to embark on something bigger.
How beautiful. I've been feeling that would be lovely to experience.
All right.
Because I have been working in it's a paradox. I've been working, it feels like in a more confined area physically.
Yes.
Yet.
You need to expand.
Yes. And internally, there's been expansion and creatively.
But the outside will reflect the inside soon enough.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, not really. Just to really share with you my absolute appreciation for everything that you are.
A deep appreciation for you as well. Our unconditional love to you. Aveo.
Aveo.
So how are you today?
Perfect. And you?
Very well, thank you.
All right.
So we have lots of questions from our viewers today.
All right. Please proceed.
Okay. Are people incarnated on Earth voluntarily or by karma?
Voluntarily.
Okay. And Buddhists say that chanting sutras and mantras can eliminate negative karma in the past and present lives. Is this true, and why?
All right. First of all, before we answer that question, we can perceive that many questions having to do with this subject of karma may have been formulated by people before they were able to hear the monologue that we have delivered. Therefore, many of these questions about karma may still be coming from an old-fashioned definition of what karma is. So we will proceed with any such questions in a manner that will relate them to what we have said in the monologue about the actual definition of karma, and show how all of these questions coming from different viewpoints with respect to the idea of the old-fashioned definition can be turned around into a new understanding, a more modern understanding, a more streamlined understanding, thus rendering many of these questions, in some sense, obsolete. Nevertheless, it will be a good exercise to, as you say, drive home the actual definition with respect to many of these questions that may be coming forward from an out-of-date perspective. The idea, again, of karma is that it does not accumulate. It does not come from other lives. Now, yes, there is such a thing as consequence of choice. Yes, what you put out is what you get back. But as we have said, karma, in its original intended form, simply means action. And therefore, as everything exists simultaneously, it is possible for someone to decide to connect to another simultaneous existence that you would call a past life, even though it exists at the same time as the present one. And they may decide to choose to make a connection to certain experiences in those other people's lives and make them relevant for the theme that a person may be exploring in this life. And in that context, you can say, well, the idea of what choices were made and what was accumulated in terms of consequence to those choices may come from another life, but it isn't the idea of something that happens automatically. It is something that is chosen for the theme of this particular life, connecting energetically to the themes of another simultaneous life. It isn't an automatic thing that accumulates and goes from one lifetime to another, since that other person in that other life isn't you. Now, we can talk about the idea that from the oversoul level, the oversoul can say, well, that is my life, and that is my life, and that is my life. And from that level, there is a kind of a continuity. But we will talk about the oversoul in another transmission. The idea, in terms of answering the question right now at hand, is that no, it doesn't automatically come from another life. And therefore, it is something that, again, to remind you all, is simply a choice that is made to recognize that someone may be out of balance in this life. And karma is the ability to take the actions necessary to bring one back into balance, no matter what themes you may be connecting to from other simultaneous lives going on. It's not something that actually follows you in that sense or accumulates upon you from one life to the next, because you only exist in the now.
Okay, thank you. Did Yeshua ever speak to the idea of karma?
Yes. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Again, the choice being made to stay in an aligned, balanced state, in alignment with all that is. And should you find yourself getting out of alignment with that, again, remembering that to be of service and to treat others as you would be treated is the actions to be taking with regard to balancing oneself, bringing oneself back into alignment, and thus utilizing the originally intended meaning of karma.
Okay, and if you help kill chickens and ducks by helping your family catch them and kill them, will you also have karma? This person is saying that they had to do that when they were a child and it was a very bad experience for them, and now they're afraid they have negative karma from the death of those animals.
Again, if it is something you can choose now to understand was representative of being out of alignment, even if you were made to do it by your family at that time, it is more the idea of the consequential energy of their choices that they will experience rather than you experiencing it because it was done against your will. So the idea is to simply recognize that it is something you no longer prefer to do and take the actions necessary in your life so that they do not happen that way again. And that will be balancing the idea of the energy and using karma in its more modern format of taking the actions to bring yourself into balance. Do not worry. Do not judge yourself in that sense. You will find that by simply moving forward in your life at this time in the way that you would prefer to, everything will be brought back into balance.
And if a person sacrifices 100,000 people to save 1 billion people, will this person have positive or negative karma?
Again, the idea is to ask oneself why it was necessary to sacrifice those people in the first place. Were you out of balance in bringing yourself into a situation like that, in attracting such a circumstance? And if you were out of balance in doing that, then take the actions necessary to cease doing things like that that bring you into those kinds of circumstances and situations, so you will not have to make decisions like that in the future. Thus, then again, taking the actions that bring you back into balance and utilizing the concept of karma in its more modern terminology and its more modern definition.
So in that sense, there's not any real answer. Like, I mean, if we saw something happening that would involve stopping the person that's doing the negative act.
Again, you must remember that there are no accidents, and therefore attracting something into your life that would cause you to have a different choice, that would give you the opportunity to make different choices. In other words, give them the opportunity to stop doing negative things and choose more positive ones. Then you have to take into account also the idea that that person is in your life not by accident, and therefore is part of your ability to attract what you need to use karma to rebalance yourself.
Since time doesn't exist, how does karma work?
Well, as we have said, first of all, everything happens in the now. And the idea of utilizing the correct definition of karma is that you take actions in the now that are representative of rebalancing yourself if you feel you are out of balance. And it isn't that the idea of time or the experience of time doesn't exist. It may not really exist mechanically, fundamentally, but it does exist as a side effect, and it is something that you can and do experience. Therefore, still recognizing that everything does exist in the now, using karma in its originally intended definition means you take whatever actions in the present are necessary to bring yourself back into alignment if you feel that you have been out of alignment.
And having to do with karma and free will, can my soul agree to solve karma from another life of my soul in my life now without my consent?
You are your soul. You have to give yourself the consent to balance yourself by taking the actions necessary to do so in this life, in this experience.
So the idea that a negative, I think in the past you may have said that you have to, the soul oversoul balances these things out in terms of between lives even, like one parallel life will balance out what another one is doing. So does the person that's the personality experiencing one of those lives have a choice about it, or is that a decision that was made at another level of itself and it cannot really negate that?
It depends on how connected it is to the theme you are exploring. Because as we have said, the person you are is a theme, is a path. And if it is something you decided to create for yourself, then it cannot be avoided because you established the path as the theme you would explore. However, in general terms, no. Someone doesn't necessarily have to choose to balance the self in any particular life. You can do it in any particular state of being that you happen to be in on the course of your evolution. So it's not absolutely mandatory unless you have made it mandatory for the theme that you chose to be in this life.
So it sounds like the better idea is not to look at things that are happening to you from the perspective of, oh, this is happening because I did this in a past life, or I agreed to do it and balance it out here or something. More the idea of just staying in the present and recognizing the connections you're making to other parallel lives are your choice.
Yes.
Based on what you're attracting and the theme you're playing out.
Yes, and remember again, because the original definition of karma is action, which happens in the moment, then in a sense, karma is synonymous with free will. You are making the free will choice to take the actions necessary to maintain balance in your life. That's what karma is. It's not something that accumulates from other times, other places. It is not retribution. It is not something that builds up and then gets you back. It is simply in the moment, the clear, free choice, free will recognition that you may be out of balance with who you prefer to be, and using the concept of action and karma and free will to bring yourself into balance by making choices that are more representative of who you prefer to be. That's all there is to it. It is very important and very crucial, which is why we're having this discussion today, for your society to really start to let go of these outdated and old-fashioned definitions of karma. They only anchor you into patterns and habits that aren't actually real. You are creating from a linear perspective a circumstance that doesn't actually exist in truth. The idea, again, is to bring everything back into present, to take responsibility, the ability to respond for the choices you have made and the consequences therefrom, and then decide, again, with your free will, your freedom to choose what actions to take, what karma to use to bring yourself into the balance you say you prefer to exhibit in your life. This requires you to truly let go of these old-fashioned definitions and really pay attention to the new definition we are offering you as a suggestion so that you can be free to make the choices that are true for you and live in the present and take responsibility. And again, this doesn't mean it erases the idea that there are consequences for your choices. Of course, there are. Again, what you put out is what you get back. But this doesn't have anything to do with what karma actually is. Karma, again, is simply the ability to take the actions necessary to bring yourself into balance if you believe you are out of balance. That's it. Free yourselves from the outdated definitions that anchor you to the concept of repeating patterns and the idea that you have to accumulate things and somehow discharge them in that way. The minute you choose to balance yourself, then you have used karma appropriately and nothing else accumulates until you're out of balance. And again, you can balance yourself in that moment, in the present. That's karma. And that's it.
And so the idea that if a person has been telling themselves a story about, oh, I did this in a past life or whatever, and a circumstance comes up that again triggers the idea of the story you were telling yourself before about why you have this certain emotional or physical reaction to something.
Yes, the closest analogy, as we said, is that someone may choose to connect to someone else's life that is experiencing certain things that they believe might be appropriate or germane for them to explore in the theme they chose for this life. But it's not something that you did that is coming from that life in the sense that you are building up an accumulation of something that has to be discharged as a judgment against you. It's not coming from outside. The idea is that you may connect to that life having a certain experience because you believe that it will help you explore the theme that gives you the opportunity to continue to take the actions that bring yourself into balance relative to that theme you're connecting to. But you didn't do it because that's not your life. You're just using that life for your own purposes to help you balance in this one.
So time and time again, it brings you back to stay in the present, recognize all the connections that you're making,
Yes.
being made from the present.
Yes.
And that the minute you reinterpret what you were previously believing was something coming from a past life into a choice of whether or not you want to continue to connect with that particular experience, sort of like a library book where you can look at the book, but do you really want to check it out of the library?
Yes.
And experience the consequence of that?
Yes. You can use it in the way it was intended for the connection that was made to learn a lesson, to help you explore a theme. But again, it's not karma in the sense that most people on your planet have been thinking of it for thousands of years. You're not anchored, except again in the anchorings you chose to have to explore a certain theme, but you created those. So if you created those connections for your own purpose of exploration, when you've learned the lesson, you have exhausted the theme and you have exhausted the reason to keep that connection going.
So this next person's question of, is karma stored in our DNA? Would it be closer to is our theme encoded in our DNA, and the effect of that maybe the stories that we tell ourselves?
Yes. And again, instead of saying, is karma encoded in the DNA, it would be clearer and more appropriate and accurate to say, is the theme I'm exploring encoded in the DNA? And can I use karma as a tool to take the actions to help me explore that theme? Yes. So what we're saying and what we're suggesting is start changing the definition of karma from something that is investing you in a certain idea or pattern and start looking at it as a tool to help you explore the theme and keep you on track with that exploration. It's the theme that is represented in the DNA, not karma.
That's fascinating. So then the idea of something being unchangeable. Okay, my theme is encoded in my DNA. I'm experiencing opportunities to balance certain energies out by the things that I manifest.
Yes.
And so is there any aspect of it that is truly unchangeable, or even your theme is changeable?
The theme, what you have chosen the theme to be. Some people, for different purposes, might choose to have an unchangeable theme for the entire lifetime. But that's not necessarily the case anymore now that you are exploring what consciousness is and the idea of taking responsibility and living in the moment and having accurate definitions of all these concepts and letting go of the fear-based beliefs and outdated definitions, these in and of themselves in this day and age may allow you more flexibility in changing your theme if you have exhausted the original one. You now have the opportunity in this lifetime to have more than one theme. So, allow yourself simply to stay in the present, move forward in acting on the idea of the formula that we have shared with all of you. If you are able to change your theme, if you come to that point, you will recognize it through synchronicity. You will feel the original theme leave you. You will feel some freedom within you and a sense of the ability to choose something different.
It seems like since we have greater communication now with our higher minds, because we understand that relationship within ourselves better, that makes things much more, quote unquote, changeable.
Yes.
Because a negotiation can actually take place.
As long as a lesson is learned, then yes, you are free to choose other themes.
Okay, great. And can you tell us how astrology and karma could be related?
No.
Okay.
Because they're not.
Can you use astrology in any way that you could probably use it as a tool to balance your karma? Yeah.
You can use it as a permission slip, like any permission slip, to again allow yourself to use karma to balance yourself. But to say to balance your karma is again misleading. You're not balancing your karma. Karma is the balancing act.
Okay. So, and do we have a choice about our next lifetime?
Yes.
Do we make that choice once we're in spirit, right?
Sometimes you can make it when you're still in physical reality, though you usually allow it to happen when you are in spirit, because there's more flexibility, more awareness, more understanding of what you have learned from the physical experience, and more opportunity to apply that to the next choice you may make.
Okay, and one person was saying that after their parents passed away, 2 cardinal birds came around and made their home directly across from the front door of my house, which was once their parents' house. And so this person feels a real connection with these birds and wants to know, is it possible for the soul of a person to come back as an animal?
No. This is not a reincarnational question. Remember again, bring everything back to the fact that everything exists at the same time. Therefore, that immediately eliminates the idea, mechanically speaking, of reincarnation. You can have it as an experience, as a presentation for certain reasons, for certain purposes, but that's not what's mechanically happening. However, this can involve another aspect of the oversoul, of which the person is also a part and the animal is also a part. So it may be a presentation of the same oversoul in another form, but that doesn't mean that the person came back as that animal. It's just another aspect of the same oversoul that the person themselves might also have been an extension of. We will go more deeply into this in a future transmission, after the next transmission, when we will discuss the idea of how the oversoul works.
I don't know if this is the right time to ask this question, but the idea of a bird or a flower or a smell being a recognition that a person is communicating with you, that's a completely different idea than the one we were just talking about.
Yes, that is simply a presentation of synchronicity using a vibration that may awaken you or alert you to the idea that another being in spirit may be attempting to communicate with you.
Right. So rather than the idea of, oh, that's my parents reincarnated, it's more like when you're seeing those birds, they're actually triggering you to know you're having a communication.
It can be that, but as I said, it doesn't necessarily just have to be that. It can actually be not only a message or a signal, but it can actually be an extension of the same oversoul that the person was an extension of too. I'm simply saying that's another option.
Okay. And there's a lot of feelings about staying in your excitement and how to get back into that when you're experiencing a lot of loss or grief or negative things keep happening, or even though you try to stay neutral, those challenges of how do you balance yourself so that you can feel the inspiration again that comes from your excitement?
As we have said, the first thing you must do is accept what's happening as there being a reason for it happening. So if you're experiencing those challenges, own them and ask yourself what your beliefs have to be in order to generate what you're experiencing, because it can't be otherwise. You can only experience what you believe you can experience. And if you believe you need to experience a challenge in that way, as a loss or something that seems challenging in a negative way, then you must believe that you're getting something out of doing it that way. You must be learning something. So by owning it and by asking yourself, what are you getting out of remaining in that belief system that's generating the experience in this particular way, then you can, with honesty, go deeper into your self-investigation. Remember, know thyself. And the deeper you go into why you have a belief that is making you experience these things, why you're holding on to that belief to keep experiencing things in that way, will illuminate what it is you think you're getting out of doing that, why you won't let it go, and it can give you much deeper insight into how to free yourself of it by realizing that by letting it go, you may actually have a much stronger connection and a much more positive experience of what it is you're exploring as a relationship to other people or other places or other things.
So when negative emotions come up when someone's following their excitement, such as feeling very intense anxiety and insecurity.
Remember, that's what's supposed to happen. The reflective mirror tool in your passion brings your attention to belief systems within you that are out of alignment with your passion. So the fact that those things come up should excite you. That's part of your excitement, because now you have something to work with, and now you can realize that you can let something go that doesn't serve you, and that adds to the energy and momentum of your passion. So it's all right to feel those things and own them, but recognize that's why they come up, because they're bringing your attention to something you didn't realize was there, and now that gives you the opportunity to work with it and let it go, and that is an exciting prospect.